Right, we are live. Hey, Sophie. How's it going? Can you see my screen, Sophie? And me? Just checking. Again, for those joining on YouTube and Facebook, if you could say hello in the chat, just so I can see. Tom G, so it's Tom Grange, I believe. Hey, mate. Hey, cool. Software is great, isn't it? I'm using this thing called Restream.io, and it's so simple. It just basically does live streaming to everywhere and puts all the comments in one little user interface. So, righty tighty, let's crack on. Today we will be fair bit. So I'm going to try and speak fast. One of my it's not really a New Year's resolution. It's something which I've decided about a week ago, is that I need to speak more succinctly. I need to speak faster, or maybe not faster. I just need to basically waffle a lot less. These live sessions are like normally an hour and a bit. So I want to try and disseminate a message, or emanate a message, if that's a word, in a lot less time. So, and I guess if you guys want more detail in a particular thing, you guys are going to ask the questions. So I think what I tend to do is say blah, 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 and then really go into detail when probably isn't required. So, annoyingly, I literally just finished the live session, so this is my breakfast coffee. It's going to get cold. Right, so today we are going to be covering how to quickly see whether one crypto is over or undervalued compared to another. I'm going to be giving some owner who's struggling to get online traction. So he's a WAPper. He put it out in the WAP group. So we'll quick go through that. And then we're going to cover literally the craziest military siege in human history. I'm a big fan of military history and battles and stuff like that, because I always try and pick out some learning points, from reading The Art of War and stuff like that. Genghis Khan was a pretty badass mofo. I've learned a few interesting things from him. But this battle, you won't even believe. You'll think I'm making it up. So you'll be Googling this battle after this, no doubt. Right, so I'm going to share my screen. Let's get it on. Share. Right, here we are in the WAP group. Again, this is my unguilty plug, because it's going to help anyone. Literally, if you're anyone, the WAP is going to help. So go to thewap.org, and this is what it is. It's like a Netflix for business, money, investing, life, and being awesome. We have modules and freaking everything. But what I would highly recommend you do is go to the introduction videos, and just do the free 30-day trial. You get access to the WAP group for 30 days. You get access to all of these videos, and you're going to learn an absolute bucket ton of stuff. Right, so that's the WAP plug over. Now, in the WAP group, again, Steve, thanks for all, and everyone else for your comments. So the first one here was that I did a crypto update probably last week or a week or longer, and John Raymond said, "Hey Simon, blah, blah, blah. In the last big live crypto session you ran, you spoke about how to see if a coin is undervalued against Bitcoin. You showed a chart, gas, Bitcoin, but I didn't know what we should have been looking at." Sorry for whizzing through that. Basically, it's a lot easier than you think. So what I was doing, where's my watch list gone? Here we go. We're looking at this chart here, gas versus Bitcoin. Right, so I think let's backtrack. Let's backtrack. Let's get Paint open for a moment. So the thing you have to understand with trading or investing or anything, you're never trading anything on its own, ever. You think you are like, I don't know, you could be looking at Tesla shares and you're like, I'm going to buy some Tesla stock. But you're not buying it on its own. Everything is in a pair. Everything is in a pair. So you have to understand this. So if you're in the UK and you're buying Tesla stock, guess what? You're buying Tesla against pound sterling. Or if you're in the US, or in fact, just to be a bit more pedantic, what you'll actually do is you'll probably open up an account with Hargreaves Lansdown or Interactive Investor or whatever, and you're going to be buying Tesla against the pound. But what may actually happen is your pound will then be quickly converted into the US dollar and then whatever. But that's a bit of a side tangent. But yeah, if you're in the US or anywhere else in the world, if you buy Tesla stock, you're probably, you're buying Tesla against the dollar. Or if you are, what was I going to say? Gold. A lot of people like buying gold. You most likely, again, if you're anywhere on, sorry, I've just seen the YouTube comments. There's a guy saying Simon's a fraud. He's a fraud. Don't listen to this guy. He lives with his mum. So my mum lives in Thailand and I'm in Norwich. And my wife is literally sat 2 meters away from me. I don't live with my mum. So I would say whoever this commenter is a fraud. If you've met my mum, you really wouldn't want to live with my mum. So, official mod, he owes you money. Right. What's your name, mate? I'm pretty sure I don't owe you money. He's now saying I'm not married. Well, yeah. Anyway, yes. Right. So let's get back to the comment. Have fun with your life, official mod, whoever you are. So yeah, if you're buying gold, it's most likely gold against the dollar. Now let's move forward to price of Bitcoin is basically BTC against USD. Okay. Now that if you're looking at Bitcoin in terms of fiat, it's all against dollar pretty much. That's what everyone bases it on. But don't forget, you can also look at other cryptos against Bitcoin. So for example, in that video when I was looking at gas against BTC, this is basically the ratio of, or the price of gas, whatever this, or I know what this crypto is, but this crypto called gas against Bitcoin. So when I was zooming through all these Bitcoin charts going, oh, that's undervalued, that's overvalued, blah, 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 blah. Okay, can I click the dots? Oh yeah, I can block use on YouTube. Bye. And add to block list and restream chat. Yes, I'll click that as well. And he's gone. Thanks, Steve Woody. Nice one, mate. Cool. Yeah, so this is sorry for the tangents. Right. So yeah, looking at this chart, this is gas against Bitcoin. So the price you see over here has nothing to do with pound sterling or the dollar. It's literally the price of gas against Bitcoin. So for example, if you were to look at, let's just take gold and silver. Okay, I know I'm darting all over the place, but it'll make sense. So if I was to create a chart, and this chart was going to be silver against gold, so the chart will be AG/AU. So that's the terms for gold and silver, or silver and gold. Well, the way you can work this out is, let's see what the price is. So if we were to quickly, so what is the price of silver? Just so we know, I don't know. So silver right now, 27.60. So let's write this down. So silver is 27.60, and gold. Let's do a quick check of gold. Gold. No, it's not that song. 1885. Right. Let's do that. So 1885. So if I was to looking at a chart of AG against AU, so silver against gold, the price that you'll see on the side won't be anything to do with, the prices we just saw here. It's literally $27.60 divided by 1885. So what is that? Let's get the calculator up here. So 27.60 divided by 1885. Yeah, so we'll be looking at a ratio. I know the chart will be blah, blah, doing whatever it does, but the current price will be 0.0146. 0.0146. So that's why when we're looking at something like gas against Bitcoin, gas. This is why we've got like a really weird pricing over here, because it's 0.00024. And that's because if you look at the dollar price of gas, it's $9.22. But then when you look at the dollar price of Bitcoin, it's 36,500. So of course, if you divide $9.22 by 36,520, you're going to get something like 0.00 blah 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 blah. Okay, so that's the bit of the background context. Hey, we have another sad individual. Right. Add to block list. He's probably just going to create new accounts and just keep trying to spam this. Right. By Leroy Diddy. So the easiest way to see if something is undervalued against Bitcoin is to simply just look at a crypto chart against Bitcoin. So let's look at the top of this watch list. We have 1 inch versus Bitcoin. And all you need to do is just zoom out. So here you can see that 1 inch, it only goes back to December 2020. So it doesn't really give you, let's look at something with a bit more of a track record. Over here. So if we look at Aave against Bitcoin and then zoom out, we can actually see that Aave historically compared to Bitcoin is actually pretty high up. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say it's overvalued, simply because Aave could just be, the next big thing, yada, yada, yada. And so what is going on here? Yeah, I'm just going to ignore the trolls. Keeps distracting my train of thought here. So looking at Aave, some people could say, actually, yeah, it's overvalued compared to Bitcoin because, look, it's way up here now, whereas all of its life it's been down here. Now, you can't necessarily say that, Aave is going to come all the way back down here. Just because Aave, started off as nothing and is now like a multi-billion-dollar project. So, but you can be more, you can sort of zoom in a bit more. So you can look at this and go, obviously, in June 2020, Aave exploded. It probably started actually doing what it's doing, crypto loans, etc. And so you could maybe start drawing trend lines and go, okay, well, this is the base trend line somewhat. If you were to draw a trend line on top, it's going to be something like this. So you could then say, okay, in this upwards channel, it's actually pretty much averagely valued. If it gets towards this base trend line, then yeah, it's somewhat, or it's lower in value. If it gets up here, it's probably time to sell. So you can make these sort of decisions yourself. ADA against Bitcoin, again, if you look at Cardano against Bitcoin, it's a different story. So in 2017, Cardano was really highly valued against Bitcoin. Some would say it became overvalued against Bitcoin, and then it came back down, did not much for the next few years, and it suddenly exploded. But we haven't even breached the all-time highs against Bitcoin, whereas when we're looking at Aave, we did. So yeah, looking at this, ADA hasn't even breached the all-time highs that it made in 2017. So again, you could then come to the conclusion that, okay, there's a bit more upside to come with ADA against Bitcoin. And so in that video ages ago, I was simply just clicking all of the cryptos against Bitcoin, going, looking for overvalued, undervalued, etc. So if you're looking at Atom against Bitcoin last year, yeah, it's you could say, okay, well, it's massively undervalued compared to where it has been. I mean, when it launched, 2019, something like this, it was way up here. But you have to sort of ignore the first couple of months of a launch, because everything is a bit crazy. But if you were to look at Atom against Bitcoin right now, you can very clearly see there's a clear level of support down here. There's some sort of clear-ish level of resistance up here, and it's pretty much bouncing between both. And for the last 2 years, it's been bouncing back and forth. Now, going back to gas Bitcoin, I'm not going to go through every chart here because that will bore you all silly. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so here's one thing. Here is Doge. Over the last, 7 years. So Doge has been oscillating, or has been bouncing up from this base trend line. You can probably guess what I'm about to say. And it's been overvalued when it gets to sort of this level here, the 0, 0, 0, 0, what was it? 4 zeros and a 1. So for most of Doge's life, since 2014, it's been bouncing up and down. And if you were to sell it every time it got up here, so if we were to zoom in a bit, if you had the trading strategy, in order to get as much Bitcoin as possible, of selling Doge up here, buying Doge when it gets down here, selling it when it gets up here, etc., you would have accumulated a lot of Bitcoin against Doge. But then, sometimes you have these big old spikes. But then what happens is, someone starts tweeting like nuts, and this is what you get. You have redonkulous movement. So just looking at Doge against Bitcoin, it's massively overvalued. I mean, just look at it on the weekly chart. It's a big fat candlestick, pretty much. So, I would say we should at least have some sort of correction, a 50% correction of Doge against Bitcoin. Now, this has nothing to do with the price, if that makes sense. And finally, looking at gas against Bitcoin, look at this baby. This is one of my big punts, by the way. It's the reason it's a big punt is because gas has it has been it's been around sort of this level for a fair while, for most of a year, and then obviously since Neo's gone a bit quiet whilst it's been restructuring for Neo 3.0, it's basically been in hibernation. But now 3.0 is coming out. Neo is going to be is a smart contract platform just like Ethereum, Solana, etc. It's going to be doing stuff, and therefore gas should, in my opinion, gain traction against Bitcoin again. And if you do the maths, it's ridiculous what could happen. I mean, even if gas gets up to sort of these levels here, it's a ridiculous return. It's like a 30x return. And in the meantime, even with all the crashing, look what's happened. We've had basically a bit of a sort of a bullish rectangle forming on the weekly. Oh no, let's look at the daily chart. It's a bit easier to see. I mean, this is looking almost like a textbook bullish rectangle popping up here. So let's get rid of some of these things. Yeah. So that's that question. So hopefully that helps John and anyone else. So the next question. So that's part one of what we're going to do today. So you can see if something is overvalued. In fact, one test. I like to check understanding sometimes. I'm going to find a little chart. Then I'm going to let you guys and girls tell me if something is overvalued or undervalued. I'm just going to something which has been around for a little bit. No feature. What can we choose? Yeah, okay. Let's do this. Okay, here we got XMR against Bitcoin. So this is Monero, a privacy coin, against Bitcoin. Would you all say that this is is Monero undervalued or overvalued against Bitcoin right now? So let's have a look at the chart. Whoopsie daisy. It's everyone's saying undervalued. Sweet. You are correct. I would agree with you. I would agree with you that Monero seems, in comparison to its history, slightly undervalued against Bitcoin, and that seeing Monero get back to sort of these levels, 0.03 to 0.02, wouldn't be far fetched, especially in an aggressive alt bull market, which we are seeing or about to see. So if you wanted more Bitcoin, you could say to yourself, right, actually, instead of buying Bitcoin, I'm just going to go pile into XMR, so Monero, and then if Monero gets back up here, you can then sell a chunk of it, and then you end up with more Bitcoin. So that, as a trader, that's all you're doing in life, whether it's crypto, commodities, currencies. You're always playing these seesaws, and at the end of the day, it's a seesaw. On one end of the seesaw is what you're trying to trade, and the other side, on the right-hand side, is what you're trying to get more of. So that's why with this watch list looks huge, but it's only because I've got, if I'm looking at Cardano, I'm looking at the Bitcoin value and also the dollar value. It's always good to, as a trader, we're just looking at sort of arbitrages. That's basically it. So yeah. So that's that question. Let's move on. Right. Someone said, so Steve said, can you click on that last comment, he's lying, in your chat box and click hide as it's on the screen? Where is this? Last comment. I thought I did it. I can actually see it. It says, Leroy Diddy, he's lying. He missed out the apostrophe. So he's already lower in my estimation. So where is this? I can't even find that comment. Anyway. We're just going to have... Yeah, I can't find it, mate. Sorry. We'll just have to say that he's lying. Hey-ho. Yeah, one of my biggest bugbears is your and your, as in you are, and your, as in possessive. And their and theirs. Like, yeah. I'm a bit of a... Yeah, anyway. So what was next in the agenda today? We're gonna giving a debrief on a new business owner who's struggling to get online traction with his new business and pointers. So he doesn't know this, but the lucky recipient today is Sukhdeep Sandhu. He's going to get lots of coverage on his business today because in the WAP group, what he was saying. Oh, I have to do another big shout out to Gary. I made a video about Gary in the YouTube playlist, so it's there. Yeah, he set up, basically, it's a really cool story. Basically, Gary Davies has some kids, and then his kids like playing football, golf, and he was like, oh, can we do that? And yeah, he set up this football golf business from scratch, from basically this little shed over here to, making it all nice and proper. And by doing so, he showed his kids that, you can, hey, Gary, you're here, mate, nice one. He basically showed his kids that you can create a business out of thin air as long as you have the persistence. Thanks, Annie. Persistence and the gut to do it. So my hat is always off to you, Gary, and that is probably the best lesson you could give your kids. So if you guys have kids, girls, if you guys and girls listening have kids, and they're anywhere between the age of, I guess, 7 onwards, so just so they can sort of understand, set up a new business with them. And if that business fails, great, that's the best learning they'll get, because then they'll be like, oh yeah, I failed my first business when I was 7 with my dad. Like that's going to help them not step on the landmines when they're 27 years old and they set up a business. So yeah, good effort, mate. So whether it makes profit or not is irrelevant. I don't care. You've already got the profit in terms of the learning with your kids. Right, so Sukhdeep said, I'm going to read this out. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all keeping well. Just looking for some advice, help really. Me and my wife set up a business, a safety deposit center. Cool. We opened up in December, but struggling to get any traction in terms of getting our name out there and getting customers. We advertise on local radio station. I wouldn't do that. Which does bring in customers. And have Google Ads campaign running, which is also bringing in people. We are top spot in Google listings. Good. Hopefully that's geo. I'll dissect this in a minute, and then I'll give my 2 cents. And in our spare time, we do flyer drops through people letterboxes and speak to business to leave flyers out there. We're not getting the number of customers we need to be honest. I'm not sure if a case of time to get our reputation built up in terms of trust and people wanting to leave their valuables with us. I tried a Facebook ads campaign, and after watching the videos in the WAP, I put screenshots below. Really appreciate any help. Out of our inquiries, we convert 90 to 95% into sales. That's insane. Twitch, I think, is pretty good. Yeah, it's exceptional. But we need to generate more inquiries. Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing. And before we go any further, I know you put your website up here. I haven't actually looked at it. I purposely have not looked at anything because I wanted to share my fresh eye with this, if that makes sense. So first of all, Coventry Safety Deposit. So if you live in that area, check him out. So that's the website. We'll come back to that in a second. So first bits and pieces. This is just my 2 cents. I'm just a small business owner like you folks. I'm nothing special. I'm an average bloke that lives at home with his mum, and I owe lots of people money, according to that guy. So the radio station. Okay, so the thing with radio ads is that this comes under the banner of brand marketing. Okay, so you have direct response marketing and brand marketing. So I think let's do some little doodles here. I can't talk without doodles. So we have brand, and then direct response marketing. Now, brand marketing would be anything from sort of radio advert to not SEO, PR, entering competitions, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, you should enter competitions and stuff because no one does it. I mean, it's really easy to win a business competition these days simply because no one enters. I don't bother, but yeah, some people like awards. So that's all that sort of stuff. And then direct response marketing is basically anything where you get a direct response. So you put a Facebook ad out there, and you'll get the clicks, and then the leads, and then the conversions eventually. If it if it all goes well. Google, YouTube, they're all direct response stuff. Now, the thing is, if you're a teeny weeny business owner or business, brand marketing is going to be a massive waste of your money. I promise you, because brand marketing takes time. If you put a radio ad out, in fact, I know this firsthand because Ellie used to be that annoying person who made all of those annoying jingles for Heart Radio. So, love you, honey. So she's got a creative writing degree, etc. And so she went into making annoying radio jingles.
They weren't all annoying.
They're really annoying. She was really good though. So, and that's what a radio ad is supposed to be, really annoying. So, you come up with a catchy theme tune and it stays in your head. And you have all sorts of things as sonic tags and stuff like that. So if, like McDonald's have done brand marketing for so long now that all they need to do is do, that little whistle. And straight away, it's McDonald's and you go, oh, I haven't had a Big Mac in ages or a filet o fish or whatever. And so they know that if they spend, I don't know, 10 grand of on Heart Radio over a period of a week, they can simply see, okay, have sales in Norwich gone up over this week. And then they can sort of go, 10 grand in ads has had an extra 50 grand in Big Macs. I don't know. So that's how they can do it because they've got the metrics, they've got the optics all sorted. Whereas yourself, because if you start doing loads of brand marketing, you don't know what's bringing you the stuff in. I think it was Ogilvy years ago said, 50% of my marketing works. I just don't know which half of my marketing works. Or something like that. And so if you ever do radio campaigns, you can't do it over a month or whatever. It needs to be at least minimum of a 6-month campaign. Minimum. Because people just forget, they don't care. A very small percentage of people listen to the radio these days. And if you manage to catch your target demographic at the perfect time for your advert, then it's going to be normal conversion rates.
They have to hear it 7 times to an average.
So Ellie says that someone has to hear an advert an average of 7 times to act on it. And that action could be to ignore it or even go to a website. So this is why I love Facebook, because you can get it in front of someone 7 times a lot quicker. And then, don't forget, when I say normal conversions, what I mean by you'll have optics, and then some people will click, some people will opt in for a free trial, free whatever. So that's what I call a lead when someone does that, free taster, whatever. And then some, then you'll have a sale. So how many people, how many ears, I can't draw ears, but that's what, this is an ear. How many ears are you going to have to get in front of before someone actually goes, oh, okay, I'm going to get my phone out and go to this website. And then they may click on it, and then you have normal conversion rates of from click to opt-in to sale, etc. So for me, my flat thing, if you're a teeny weeny business, don't bother with brand ads. You need direct response marketing. Just my opinion, by the way. I know other people massively disagree. PR is always a good one, but you need to be localized and like laser target your PR. So PR can be great. Like when I opened up Float Norwich, I did big PR. I did, I got all of the radio stations in Norwich, the EDP, the Eastern Daily Press, which is, our local paper, to cover it all up. And you can sort of manipulate pictures. So, or not manipulate, manipulate's a bad word. Like, for example, one of the things I did was the picture I wanted in the EDP was a specific one. I had this in this picture in my head that Float Norwich, we opened up here, and I wanted loads and loads of people queuing outside Float Norwich all the way around the corner. Because I knew that all the radio and the papers would be there, because this is the first flotation therapy center in Norwich for blah, 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 blah. And I was like, right, wouldn't it be cool if I had this cool picture of Float Norwich and a massive queue of people waiting to get in? So what did I do? I, first of all, did a pre-launch campaign using Facebook, and I got loads of people. In fact, I got 5,000 people on this waiting list. And that people got on the waiting list because they then got a 50% discount voucher. And then, so when we launched, I then, I could then email all these 5,000 people. And then also, I think I said something like, for the first 100 people that actually rock up on opening day, which was the 5th of December 2016, they get extra treats. I can't remember what it was. Probably they got their 50% discount plus a free something. And guess what? We had a massive queue. And as people were waiting for the opening, and what we were doing, we were showing people around. So we had these like taster sessions. Every 10 minutes, we'd bung like 30 people into the building, show them around the pods, give them their their discount vouchers. We gave people cookies that were waiting. We didn't want. Oh no, it was mince pies. Sorry, we gave everyone mince pies that were waiting. We just wanted everyone to feel loved. And then every 10 minutes, 30 in, get the, show them around, get them out, get the next 30 in. And guess what? The picture we had in the EDP and all the papers, we had this massive queue of people, yada, yada. And it was great. And that is why in the opening 5 days of Float Norwich, because I had incorporated direct response marketing with brand marketing, i.e. PR and papers and all that sort of stuff, we made £25,000 worth of sales in the first 5 days. And I also won a little bet because I had a bet with a friend. There's no money in this bet. He said, "Oh, you can't do any of your Facebook bollocks with bricks and mortar businesses." I was like, "Bullshit! Yes, I can," and I did it. So so you need to somehow incorporate as many things as possible. So that's my little tangent there. Let's get back to your post. So that's radio. Google Ads is good, but there's a big but. So you have to understand with Facebook and Google, they're two different types of marketing. So with the Googs, people need to be searching for something. So they need to be searching for safety deposit boxes in Coventry or area, etc. And if you do Google Ads, then you can sort of pop up in people's searches. Whereas Facebook, no one's searching for safety deposit boxes in Coventry at all. So you then have to basically get your ad out there and go, "Hey, you need me," etc. So they're two different types of things. And then YouTube is, again, like Facebook. I guess it's a mix of both, actually. YouTube marketing can be both. People are searching for safety deposit boxes and your ads can come up there, vice versa. Now, I've always used Facebook as, again, I know people hate the word funnel, but it's a funnel testing platform. So like I said, with the normal metrics, let's say from eyeball to click to lead to sale, let's just say these are the generic normal funnel metrics. I use Facebook ads to find out what my natural, my natural conversion rates are. So I want to know what's my click-through rate, what is my opt-in rate, and then what is my lead to sale conversion percentage. So once I know all of them, then you can sort of tweak blah 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 until you get it nice and efficient. And once you have an efficient client attraction model, then you can go to YouTube and start doing YouTube ads and getting in front of people, knowing that your stats are. Whereas trying to figure out all your stats from YouTube or Google isn't ideal. In my humble opinion. And I spend. I'm not the world's best marketer at all. I probably spend on average, 10 to 20 grand a month on Facebook ads. That's just me. Of course, you can go to YouTube, you'll probably find people that spend £1 million a month. But this is my own money. I don't do Facebook ads with other people's money. So I learn everything the hard way. I put my balls where I put my balls on the line, or money where my mouth is, not my balls in my mouth. But yeah. So that's that. But Google is different. And also with Google, if you ever do Google ads, I would geo-target it. So there's no point doing safety deposit box ads for freaking Scotland. That is a wasted ad spend. It's like, yeah. So you need to basically geo-target everything for around the Coventry area. And therefore you can then you can dominate the top 1, 2, 3 positions with Google ads, as long as you're geo-targeting your ads so that only people in Coventry can see it. And then eventually, by doing geo-targeted Google ads, it also helps with your SEO, etc. So you can, for a start, the big thing that you've done very well is your name. Where is your name gone? Your name is coventrysafetydeposit.co.uk. Beautiful, mate. Masterpiece. Hats off. So that's always going to help with your SEO. You got it in the title, Coventry Safety Deposit, yeah. And so in terms of keywords, you're doing things nicely. Okay, top spot, yep, nice. Flyers, same shizzle. So a lot of people hate flyers. Some people love them. I love them when you know what your conversion rates are. How do you get your conversion rates? Use Facebook. So I know, for example, in business, or like if I'm trying to find another business to buy, I love direct mail. So when I say direct mail, as in something through the post, because I know it's roughly, I don't want to go into the stats, but you can find a new business to buy if you do a direct mail campaign, simply because I know the click-through rate. So if you're someone that doesn't like lumpy mail, so direct mail, as in like leafleting, etc., you're also not going to like radio ads, because they're pretty much going to be the same thing. And I always my rule is 1%, 1%, 1%, and maybe another 1%. So this is why I once went to a football match. I think in my whole life I've been to like 2 football matches. I'm not a football fan, but in hindsight, you're sitting in the stadium, etc., and you got these little banners across the whole, on a football match, etc. So let's say I'm sat here looking out. Here's the pitch, and you have all these ads. Sometimes they flash or they're fixed, etc. And in hindsight, I'm like, how effective are these bloody adverts? One, these adverts, first of all, need to be relevant to the target demographic. So if you're the average football fan going to these adverts need to be, relevant to you. And also it's 1%, 1%, 1%. So of, 1%, this is a ballpark. I always start with the worst stat. So 1% of the people seeing your advert are going to be like, oh yeah, this is for me. So, what in a stadium of 100,000 people, only 1% of them this advert's going to be relevant for. And then of the people that it's relevant for, probably only 1% of them is then going to go into your website. And then 1% of them is either going to become a lead or a sale. Or if you've got other steps, it'll then be another 1%. And it's exactly the same for radio. So you just got to know your stats. So everything works as long as you know your stats. And then it's a case of pushing through enough money so your stats can hit expectancy. This is why, I'm a trader, and online marketing and trading are so similar because it's just pure stat based. Honestly, any good trader can easily become a good online marketer because they're so similar. It's all about expectancy. So not getting enough customers you need. Okay, that's fine. It will take time to get your reputation built up. Hell, show people around your premises. You could do like disco days, discovery days, get people in, show them around. And, when you get a physical interaction with someone, then you're showing people around. It's great. Like they're more you'll have a higher conversion rate. Like, for example, I remember visiting a safety deposit box because I had a lot of gold and silver on one point. And actually, I'm trying to sell all my gold and silver. So if anyone wants to buy my silver, I can sell it to you cheaper than bullion by post. But yeah, I looked at a whole bunch of safety deposit boxes, as in ones, and there's one in Leicester I went to, and I was just blown. My mind was absolutely blown at the level of security they went to. So first of all, the centre was right next to the Armed Response Police centre. So it was literally like a 30-second walk from the Armed Response unit where their depot, and the owner of that did that on purpose. So and he would always say, "Oh yeah," and worst case scenario, the arm response unit sit in that labor in that depot over there. And this guy went over the top. Like when the alarm went off, the oxygen would be sucked out of the vault, and I was like, "What? This is James Bond shit here." And I was like, "Yeah." Not only that, blah blah, and there's loads of other stuff. And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah." If I'm going to store everything, I'm going to be putting it here. And plus, I think I had to pay like £200 insurance per year for something like 100 grand coverage. I was like, "What? £200 a year insurance to cover me for 100 grand?" Yeah, I'm all in. So that won me over. And plus, he was a really nice guy. So and what I just saw your comments, Sukdeep. He says we are setting up a bullion business, so it would be interesting in buying some. Yeah, exactly. So for you, I would market yourself relentlessly to people that own gold and silver, and put it there, and make sure you have that insurance as well, because it's a no-brainer. Facebook ads campaign. Okay, yeah. So I know you put screenshots of your ad campaigns, etc. I'm not too worried about this. The reason being is that, one, you're spending £5 a day, so you're not going to get enough data. So really, if anything, you need a minimum of 1,000 clicks. A minimum, absolute minimum. And also, with Facebook ads, you need to use the conversion model and not clicks. So yeah, let's have a look here. That's one screenshot. Yeah, that's fine. I keep clicking the same thing because I'm an idiot. Here's the next one. Your event breakdown. Okay, so you're going over. Yeah, sending them to your main site. I would create a landing page. I mean, hell, on your website, I would create another tab or a landing page which is just for gold and silver hodlers, and make that landing page really relevant to gold and silver holders, and then drive traffic to that page. If you're driving it to your home site, you're going to lose some people. Like some people. Let's look at the services. What are the services box? Yeah, okay. I'll come on to that in a bit. So that's that. What's the other screenshot? Okay, these are just pixel events. Yeah, that's fine. So you won't get. Yeah, you're spending £5 a day. You're not going to get any traction. Your CPC cost per link is really low. You got 36 link clicks. Yeah. So I mean, put it this way. Let's say, advert. Yeah, normal metrics, advert to, I don't know, let's say click to opt-in to sale. Okay, I'm just going to pluck these out of my arse. They're going to be very generic. So it's great. Let's say you're spending 30p CPC, cost per click. That's great. Well, what's the percentage that's going to opt in? I don't know. Let's keep it low. Let's be really pessimistic. Click to opt-in. Okay, it's not going to be that bad. So let's say it's 5%. And then from opt-in to sales, at the moment, I know you said it's 90% roughly, but let's just say it's worse than that. Let's say it's 25%. And then you got a sale. Okay. And so for every one sale, you need 4 opt-ins. And the way I work this out, in case you're not familiar, so you do 1. So you start with that. With a 25% conversion rate, you just divide it by 0.25. That gives you 4. The next one is 5%. So you do 4 divided by 0.05, because that's what 5% looks like. So you need 80 clicks. There we go. And how much does 80 clicks cost you? So it's 80 times 30p. 80 times 30p, 24 quid. Okay, I think I'm being too generous here. Because in this example, 24 quid in ads is going to give you one sale. I think it's going to be way, way more than this. So in fact, what I always do whenever I'm starting a new business and I'm spitballing potential stuff, I literally stick to 1%, 1%. Because if you can get a business working at 1%, 1%, you're laughing. So for every one sale, you need 100 opt-ins. 100 opt-ins, you need, was it 10,000? 100 divided by 0.01. Sorry, my math is shit. 100 divided by 0.01, 10,000. Yeah, there we go. 10,000 times 30p. That's what, 3 grand, isn't it? Something like that. Yeah, so 3 grand in ads equals one sale. But obviously, this 1%. I mean, for you, it's not going to be that much. I mean, how much is your business? As in, obviously, the lower the price point, the lower, the higher conversion rate. So, for example, if you take the realistic trader, my conversion points are going to be like really low, because you basically go from nothing to what is RT? Something like 500 quid a month or 4,800 quid up front. So yeah, if you look at my total CPA, it's costing me like $3,000 to get a new customer. So a lot of people think, oh, Simon's got loads of members, RT must be really nailing it. Well, it's not as good as you think, to be fair, because it's costing me roughly, £2,000 to £3,000 to get a new customer that's paying me 4,800, and that's with the tax included. So after the tax, the VAT, it's basically $4,000. So you got to be prepared to have high CPAs, so high cost per acquisition. So for you, I don't think it'll be $3,000 to get a new customer. So it could be 5% here. So in that case, it's 5,000 clicks, etc. No, 5. Sorry, let's do. So this is how you do tweaks. 100 divided by 5%. So it's 2,000. Okay. So then 2,000 clicks times 30p. 600 quid. That's more like it. Yeah. And then all you need to do is just keep on tweaking until you get it running. And then once it's singing beautifully, you turn the tap on. Literally, that's all I ever do in business. I get the funnel metrics beautiful, so it's working really well. I then probably put 10 grand in ad spend, see if that still sticks up to the conversion rates, and that still works out. And then you just got to scale it. If your ad campaign's still working after 10 grand, 20 grand ad spend, all you then go and do is borrow like 100 grand, dump it into Facebook. Simple. Then you just supersize your business, really freaking quickly. So that's that. Let's look at your website. I like the branding, gold, very clever. Yeah, you need more call to actions, like just make these a bit bigger. Personally, your services, again, you're using up loads of space here for this. Okay, these aren't services; these are more like features. But they're like benefits. So have so you can have like bullion holders, jewelry holders. Try and break it up, because at the moment it's a little bit. It's not. I wouldn't say complicated. Say 50. I guess these are really your services. So your services and prices are like basically the same page. Price 130 quid a year for a tray like that. Yeah, and if there's insurance, I don't know. But yeah, we've got insurance on the next one. Up to 500k per box. Yeah, how much is that going to cost? Just make it simple. Like here, I'm having to really look into your, like, for 500 grand coverage, how much am I paying per year? Just make it really simple, mate. But yeah, you're doing things really well. And like what was I going to say? It's just little things with, making things work online. Like you can make little tweaks. I mentioned the fairy pen pal thing a while ago. Like when we first started out, the offer was, I think, £45 for 3 months worth of stuff. And, we spent loads of money on ads and nothing worked. Then we tweaked it, nothing. And we're like, oh my God, my fairy pen pal is a waste of space. No one wants it. And then all I did, I changed it to £15 for a 2-month trial, and then it flew like hotcakes. So you just got to keep on trialing different thingies. So, and by the way, there isn't a single video on your website at the moment. Not a single video. You need video, mate. Honestly, homepage, big video view on the left-hand side here. You can squeeze all this to the right-hand side. People buy people. So so buy you. So you need a video of you talking about the thingy, walking through your deposit center so people actually see it. At the moment, I don't know if that's a stock picture or it's actually a picture from your vault. I've no idea. To me, this looks like a stock picture. I don't know. To me, this doesn't look trustworthy because it looks like a stock picture. Even hell, that looks like a 3D rendered picture. It's not like an actual photograph. So my first, everyone is always thinking with their gut. They're like, I see no people. I see no team. I see no video. This looks dodgy. Oh, not dodgy, but I'm like, meh. So definitely get pictures of you, your team, video, walk through the whole thing. So yeah, do that. Anyway, let's move on. Hopefully that helps. They're my 2 cents. And look, we've got 25 comments in here. So you got lots of, I haven't actually read the comments yet, but knowing the WAP community, there are going to be some good comments here. So if you're a WAPper here, thanks folks for helping out. Yeah, join the WAP. It's awesome. Little plug. Honestly, 30-day free trial. And even if you want to join the WAP full join, it's only 300 quid a year. Some people spend $5,000 for a business university degree or more, 50 grand, and end up, 300 quid a year. This is cheap as chips. Right, moving on. So I want to get into the thing I actually want to really talk about today, which is the craziest battle in history. So in fact, I'm just going to scroll through the bets. So the comments. Quickly, undervalued. Yep. Another highlight. Cool, Gary. Jordan Wilcox, leaflets are very inefficient in our experience. If you're looking to build local business, then maybe like BNI. Oh yeah, BNI. I would join BNI. I hate it. I did BNI for 3, maybe 4 years, and I hated every second of it because I had to wake up at 6 o'clock every Thursday. And from like 6:30 till 9, you had to do this networking BS. However, it will help your business get off the ground. A lot of my business friends in Norwich are from BNI back in the day. So definitely join BNI. Just give it a go. And for networking, just join all of those networking groups. You will get business from it, I promise you. Anita said, safety deposits, biggest concern will be trust, safety, etc. Yeah, it is valid. So that is a valid comment there. Instinct would be go to a large chain. And that's why some people just go to a bank safety deposit box, so you got to get rid of that question, that sort of that objection. Radio brings a lot of older customers. Cool. Yeah. Gary, another bet won by me. Yeah, I only take bets I know I can win. So this new bet that I've made is, so those are not following, or probably didn't know. Yesterday I went round my comment goes against community standards. What have I said? I've been a bad boy. Hope this helps. If you like the final video, wow, okay. Sorry, Facebook, for trying to share a video. Facebook are really anal. I shouldn't probably say that on a Facebook Live and YouTube Live. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, the bet. So yesterday, I went round a mate's house, and I've known him since school. So we've known each other since we were 13 years old. And there's a whole bunch of us. We do this every now and then. They're like family. So here's my mate, Matt Durrant. And he is not enlightened in the world of crypto. So basically, we've made a little wager, and I said, I bet you £1,000 that by the end of this year, Bitcoin will have hit at least $100,000 Bitcoin. So it doesn't have to stay there. All that has to happen is Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin against the US dollar, has to just hit $100,000 up here, and then I win £1,000. Okay, so for me, this is an easy bet, and it's it's tongue in cheek, etc. And I said, when I win, I'm going to make another art piece. And for those not familiar with my art piece, you go to simisbetteratgolfthansam.com. This is the previous bet I won with a mate. And this is my art piece. So basically, put all his the bet in an art piece. This is all his shit chat from the WhatsApp group over the years. And I told him I was going to do this. And so this is what it looks like. So I'm going to make another art piece of £10 notes, and I'll put it in the shape of a Bitcoin sign. Anyway, so going on. So he said, yep, deal. He's going to win. So straight away, I said, look, this is a win-win deal for you, mate, because all you need to do is you can hedge your bet straight away. You could put £1,000 into Bitcoin right now. So if I'm right and I win the bet, he gives me the £1,000, but the Bitcoin he's bought right now will be worth more than the £1,000. Or if we're wrong and Bitcoin isn't 100k, or if let's say it stays flat, my £1,000 that I give him from losing the bet will then offset his £1,000 that he put in. So he can't lose this bet so long as he buys at least £333 worth of crypto or Bitcoin from now. Or if it was even wiser, don't even buy Bitcoin. Buy Ethereum or Polkadot or Cardano, something that's going to likely move faster than Bitcoin. So easy hedge is, as I said, trading, investing. It's all about seesaws. So he could easily seesaw the shit out of this and end up in a far better position. So yeah. And and I do want him to get his money out. Just like if you go to Siam is better at golf than Sam.com, this video here is designed that Sam makes loads of business, because I was actually just promoting his businesses here, saying like I've won £1,000 off him, but I want him to make £1,000 worth of sales. So if you're into fishing, and I think most of you probably won't be much for Bearing Boys, but yeah, if you want to buy fishing stuff, go to tackleboys.co.uk. It's literally the fastest website I've ever seen. Click on anything, it's awesome. Anyway, moving on. Right, I think that's it for the questions before we move on to the next bit. Fame has said, WAP is so much worth more than 300 quid. Thank you, it's much appreciated. More interested in the cheesecake. Yeah, that cheesecake. It was like a Romanian flan thing that he made. It was beautiful. Does he deliver those cheesecakes? Yeah, that was gorgeous. And there was another lemon cheesecake over here. Anyway, Adam, he's paid a binder, put money in Bitcoin, hope it goes up, and hedge with the bet against you. Yeah, exactly. Whether he does that, I don't know. But I've sent him the links. I sent him all my YouTube tutorials, how to open up an account with Binance. Whether he does it, I think he should. Okay, now let's get into the pièce de resistance, the thing I really wanted to talk about today, which is the craziest battle in human history. Please YouTube this. It is just insane. And it is the Battle of Alicia. God damn. So one of my all-time favorite people is Julius Caesar. Now, a lot of you probably know Julius Caesar from the bloke that got, stabbed in the back by all of his contemporaries. Blood everywhere, et tu, Brute, and all that sort of stuff. However, a lot of people don't know how much of a freaking legend Julius was. So I've always said, if I could have a dinner party with anyone that's ever existed, and it hasn't really changed over the years, we'd have Elon Musk. We'd have Nikola Tesla, who is actually my favorite human being in all of history. If you ever research of the sheer genius of Nikola Tesla, it's as though he was an alien that visited Earth. Like, he was so far ahead of his time, it's ridiculous. I'd have Leonardo da Vinci. And I would also have Julius Caesar, because he's one badass mofo. Like, a lot of people think Putin or Genghis Khan are badasses. No one comes close to Julius Caesar. Like, he is the best tactician. I would say he's the best military tactician that's ever lived. Just look at some of the things. Like, he rarely had a losing battle. And nearly every battle he ever went into, he was always outnumbered. And he would always just Caesar's just insane. So if I had this dinner party, I'd wet myself. And, I'd pick all sorts of oh, man, it would just be amazing. So, right, let's talk about the Battle of Alicia. So I've known about this for years, and it's just, so my numbers will probably be off, plus or minus, I don't know, 10,000 people, but they're enough the same. So Gaul, back in the day, a lot of people say Gaul was, France, but it is a bit more than that. It was parts of Spain, parts of northern Italy, parts of Germany, all of Belgium and Luxembourg. So the whole, territory of Gaul was a massive place. And the Romans spent a long time trying to invade Gaul. Okay. And what happened is that eventually Gaul was basically overrun by the Romans under its dominion. And that was mainly thanks to Julius Caesar. Caesar basically just dicked all over Gaul. And all throughout Gaul, there's towns and, there's Romans everywhere. There's Roman settlers, Roman diplomats, yada, yada, yada. And what happened is that Gaul, let's make them green. Gaul had an uprising. And all of the clan, the Gallic clan leaders, got together, were like, oh, we need to kick out the Romans. They're, had enough of their shit. And they started killing loads of like Roman, basically anyone Roman they could find, they'll just kill. And they got together in secret, and they basically rustled up the whole big old civil uprising. And they gave basically command of the whole thing to a guy called Vercingetorix, who's this big old bloke with a massive handlebar moustache, long wavy hair. So this was Vercingetorix. Pretty cool name. Anyway, so obviously Julius Caesar didn't like this, and he obviously went to try and take out this Gallic uprising, etc. And there's lots of toing and froing. Julius actually lost a couple of battles on the way there. So he obviously had to lick his wounds, etc. And then eventually lots of stuff happened, and they're moving around. And then down sort of this sort of part of Gaul, there was a town called Alicia. Now, if we scroll down a bit, I've tried to do some of the writing. Actually, let's go sideways. Now, Alicia is this fortified town. So it looks a bit like this. And it's on top of a hill, and it's fortified. So you've got big ass walls, really big, sort of 50-foot high walls or bigger, and it's on top of a sort of a fort or a uprising. So it's massive. Okay, and so what happened is that Caesar was chasing Vercingetorix to the point where Vercingetorix moved 80,000 troops. I mean, these numbers are just ridiculous. 80,000 troops. It's like moving everyone in Wembley Stadium into a city, and then So Vercingetorix had 80,000 people, and if you look at the topography, there was like I don't know, there was sort of high ground here, high ground here, high ground here, high ground here, and obviously don't forget the whole fort, the city was on high ground, and on either side we had rivers. So the rivers ran across like this. So what do you do? By the way, if you know about the Battle of Alicia, please don't spoil it. I'm going to ask some questions, but don't spoil it. So here's Caesar. He's chased him Vercingetorix all the way back to Alicia. That's an A, and Caesar has 50,000 troops. Okay. Now, what happened? So he was like, okay, I can't attack this. Yada yada yada. What do I do? And don't forget, he knows that Vercingetorix has sent out some feelers to go and get reinforcements, etc. So what would you do? Knowing that you're Julius Caesar, you can't attack this fort because that's just suicide, and you know that it's a matter of weeks, or it could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months until Vercingetorix gets reinforcements. And the reinforcements could be pretty huge numbers, and they could come from either direction. So you don't know what's going to happen. And also your supply lines are screwed. You've got basically one very thin supply line in sort of this direction over here, but it's very thin. What would you do? Well, most people, pretty much any general in all of human history, and even all of us, if we're in his boots right now, what would we do? We'd be like, bollocks. Okay, let's retreat a bit. Let's go and shore up our supply lines and just wait for a better battle. Because I mean, there's no way he's going to take this out. Would you agree? That's what I would do. That's pretty much what I would do. Would you agree? Yes, no, I don't know if the chat box, is it still working? Can you even see my screen? Kill supply lines. You could siege it. Yeah, well, get an Apache helicopter to blow them out of the water. Yep, that as well. So, yeah, that's what most people do. However, we are not Julius Caesar, and we're not freaking badasses. So, what happens is this. He goes, right, I see what you're doing. So he he then builds. He basically sieges the whole city. Now, when I say a siege, I don't just mean he's trying to bomb it with catapults and stuff. He goes freaking insane. And so this is when I say he sieges it. So this is Alicia on top of a hill. First of all, he digs a 20-foot wide trench around the whole city. So when I say around the whole city, these trenches are 10 miles long. So first of all, let's just draw a big old chasm over here. He draws a 20-foot wide trench around the whole city, which is roughly 10 miles long. Not only that, I'm just going to get rid of that. Just store this in the back of your head. Then he builds or he digs 15-foot deep V trenches. So, and then the second V trench, so that's again just a bit more than 10 miles long. And then a bit down the line, he digs another 15-foot trench and he fills it with water from the surrounding rivers. Remember, he's got rivers. So he diverts water so that final V trench, that 15-foot V trench, is actually now a moat. So what he's now done is he's completely cut off supplies to Alicia. So he's properly sieging them. Okay? This is nothing game-changing. This is, that happens a lot with old-fashioned sieges. Then what he does is throughout everywhere, so in between all of these and just basically dotted all around the town, is he put these camouflage spike pits in. So these camouflage spike pits are freaking everywhere. Fall in, game over. And not only that, he builds a 12-foot high wall around the whole of freaking Alicia with spikes at the bottom. Like, how much of a badass is this guy? So before you know it, and by the way, he builds this massive construction in under 2 weeks. This is just insane. So he builds an over 10-mile long wall, which is roughly 15 foot high, around the whole of Alicia, along with all of those various, pits and trenches and stuff like that. And there's a moat, etc. Now, obviously, Vercingetorix is at the top of this thing, watching all of this unfold. So don't forget, like he's got 50,000 troops, and he's had to spread them across everywhere. And he can watch over the next week or two this wall just being built, and like the surrounding forests being destroyed. I don't know how much wood 10 miles worth of 15-foot high walls are, but it's probably a lot of damn trees. And so what happens is there's like this plain, it's like a 3-mile square area of, sort of pasture land, etc. And there's a big fight. So what happens is during all of this, Vercingetorix he's doing loads of raids. Obviously, he can see these trenches and walls being built. So he keeps on attacking, in lots of different bits. But Julius simply just repels them back, and it doesn't work. And he gets desperate. Vercingetorix goes, all our supply lines are tight. And just as the wall is almost complete, in the dead of night, he sends out, he spots a hole. I don't know which area, but let's say the area is over here. He sends out 12,000 cavalry, as in horses, out into the night, and to not engage in the Romans, just basically leg it and go and get help. Because the reinforcements after 2 weeks haven't arrived, and he's like, all right, I'm going to send all our horses out, bugger off, get help. Now, they manage to escape, and Caesar knows this, by the way, so he can see 12,000 horses escape, and he knows, shit, okay, the rest of the reinforcements are to come. Now, reinforcements are huge. Now, obviously, data is actually pretty well recorded since then. Now, according to Julius Caesar, the reinforcements were 250,000 troops. But other sources, not pounds, other sources say it was between 100 to 150,000 troops. Now, of course, Julius Caesar is going to big himself up, okay? So let's just discount that. And let's say, it's about 100 to 150,000 troops. So he knows that this massive army of, call it 100, 150,000 troops, is going to be descending on him. So he's built this wall. He's sieged them, but he now knows he's probably got a number of weeks or a month until, 100,000+ troops come and basically prods him in the bum. What would you do at this point here? What would you do? Knowing you can't attack Alicia because it's fortified, it's on a hill, you can't do all that. You're starving Vercingetorix out, but you also know you're going to get absolutely reamed with 100,000+ troops coming from any direction. What do you do? Oh, by the way, before that happened, there was a big old fight in this plain, and Julius basically repelled them. And that fight was quite hilarious because he sent in his Germans. He had these special German mercenaries that fought butt naked, and apparently these Germans would have boners whilst fighting. I don't know how. I wouldn't think the blood would be in your dick whilst fighting, but apparently these German fighters were really off-putting. And so these German mercenaries actually just rinsed this big old fight, and they all started running back to Alicia. But Vercingetorix saw all of these crazy Germans with boners and shut the gates and wouldn't let his troops back into the city. And obviously he was watching from a high, and he watched like thousands, like probably 10,000 troops get slaughtered by these Germans. Blood everywhere with boners. It's insane. Anyway, so it was after that bloody battle, he was like, shit, I need reinforcements. So what would you do? So Gary says, build another wall. At this point, by the way, Roman soldiers were, basically civil engineers. Everyone was an engineer. That's how they could destroy all these, surrounding trees and build a freaking wall like this in 2 weeks. Norwich City Council can't fix a freaking pothole in 2 weeks, let alone build a 10-mile wall. So, yeah, I'll cut to the point, the chase. Because Julius is such a bad mofo, he does a thing which no one expects. He builds another wall. This time round, so we got this 10-mile wall around the whole thing. He builds an 18-mile wall around his wall. So he's now basically stuck, and he's got like a Roman sandwich now. And yeah, and he does the same thing. He builds, trenches and spike pits, on the outside, etc. And so now and during all of this, don't forget, there are constant raids going on. So raids, trying to disrupt it, etc. But then that stops. And then before you know it, well, according to Caesar, 250,000 Gallic reinforcements arrived. But obviously, he's going to inflate that. Let's call it 150K. And they come in basically one big direction. They come in from sort of this direction here, en masse. And so Vercingetorix can see this. He can see this. He can see everything. He's on a hill. He sees it. And then I forgot the name of the commander of this troop. I think it's sort of like Continuous or whatever his name is. I can't remember. But there's a big old fight. There's a big old fight in this wall. Vercingetorix sees this. Game on, bitches. Starts pushing in. And so there's big old fights on this front. So there's fights here, and it's bad. This is bad. And he repels it, by the way. He repels some of these fights. But I think like the fourth fight in is a massive all-out front, assault. And it's not, so most of the assault is here. But also at the same time, Vercingetorix, he's not stupid. He's attacking on pretty much every front because he knows that he has the numbers. He's got 80,000 to raid. And basically, Julius has got only 50,000 troops that are sort of sandwiched in his bloody makeshift siege thing. I mean, this is like a suicide move. But then what happens on, I think, this fourth battle is crazy, like massive pushing in. So this big old relief army really batters down the walls, pushes in. The Romans go full on turtle mode, where they do those, shields. And so it's like they call it the moving tortoise or whatever, where, it's just Roman shield wall, arrows can't go through. Anyway, so they sort of hunker up. And what happens is Julius Caesar, he gets on his horse. Oh, by the way, during all of this, he's constantly riding around, gathering troops and redirecting troops to sort of he's like a hands-on bloke. He's not like one of those generals that sit in a big fat chair. He's actually in the fight. And then he sees, the breakthrough over here, and he's shit, we're going to lose this. So he gathers 12,000 cavalry. At this point, he gathers all of his horsemen, and he basically escapes. He cuts through here. He basically gets all of his soldiers to basically hunker. And because this is a wall that they can't escape, these cavalry come crashing from the rear and slaughter tens of thousands of reinforcement army. And what happens is all of the Vercingetorix troops sees this and go, oh, holy shit. They run, they flee back into the hill, into the fort. And then all of these relief army, they see this massive slaughter and they just simply leg it. So like call it 100, 150,000 troops just go, screw this, I'm out. And then thereafter, after this defeat, Vercingetorix gives in. Like how much of a badass military campaign, and all this happened in like a month or two. Snowwolf says my nipples hurt. Yeah, my man erection is like my man boner for him is like off the scale here. It's insane. Like it's absolutely insane. Please YouTube and Google this battle. It's just nuts. So what learning points do we get from this? And, for years I've been trying to figure out what are the learning points from all of this. Now, and to be honest, I don't actually have really good learning points. I just love this story. Now, I guess one learning point is the fact that, sometimes when you have insurmountable odds and you have, sometimes you have some sort of, error, decision, hard time. And normally you have two decisions. You're like, do I do this or this? And then you're sort of weighing up that seesaw thing. But sometimes you need to think out of the box and go, wait a minute, is there a third option? Fame says avoid German sausage. Yeah. By the way, although I respect his military prowess and all that sort of stuff, he was a cold, ruthless killer. By the way, Julius Caesar, he was heartless. So that fact is not lost on me. I know he was heartless. So sometimes if you have a difficult situation to make, sometimes it's not the normal thing, and normally sometimes the normal route of action, or the direction of action you should take, that's what most people take. So try and think laterally. Is there a way that someone hasn't realized before? So that's one thing. But obviously he's YOLOing it. He's like, you only live once. Let's go, balls deep with this. And so he did. Obviously, I think if anyone else tried to pull this off, they would have just got crushed. Like he was outnumbered 3-4 to 1. It was just insane. And don't forget, his supply lines were cut as well. As soon as the reinforcements arrived, his supply lines were cut. So in essence, they didn't. I mean, Vercingetorix and the relief army didn't really need to quit. They could have just held their ground, and they would have starved to death. So, yeah, Fame, I agree. He says, if it's all going bad around you, doing something crazy isn't that much of a risk when you've got nothing else to lose. So why not take it? And I think that's what he did. He was losing Gaul, so he had to really dig down. So, I mean, are there any other business learning points you can take from this? I think the main one is that always think laterally. And if you look at any of other Julius Caesar battles, he thinks laterally all the time, to the point that, like, even people around him, his enemies and other politicians around him, all said, "Don't mess with Caesar; he'll outthink you." So, I mean, did this help? I know it's a funny story. Well, it's not really funny. It's just a fascinating story. But has this little tangent helped? I know it's not nothing about wealth generation, but I just think I've always got this battle in my mind. And I've done some crazy shit in the day in business. And sometimes it's played out. Sometimes it hasn't. Like, as I said before, like some of the crazy stuff I've done in the past is, once I've got my Facebook campaign working in a business and I know that it's doing well, all I go and do is borrow like $100,000 and put it in Facebook. Because once you know that £1 turns into, I don't know, £2 within, I don't know, let's say a 2-month period, why wouldn't you go YOLO and just put as much money in up here as you can? Or, it could be crypto. Like if you're like me and you're so cocksure that crypto is going up in the long run, or in the short term, and also the long term, why would and it's, you see crypto as like a once in a lifetime opportunity or once in a decade opportunity, why wouldn't you push the boat out a bit instead of using risk capital? Work out your loss in terms of time. So if you do take a big risk, how much is it going to push you back in time? That's a big thing for me. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's 60 of you here listening to this. Has it helped? I don't know. Actually, at one point, there's 90 of you listening here. So we've just lost 30 people. So 30 people don't like Vercingetorix or Julius. But yeah, for me, it's just the way you think. I mean, does anyone have anything they want to share? Does anyone want to unmute yourself? Anyone want to put in the comments? Because we're going to have to round this up now. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Let's have a look at the chat box. Yeah, that's it really. Just waiting for the lag to catch up. Oh, here we go. Gary, yeah, sure. I'm off to get a loan to buy crypto. Okay, that's not financial advice. Obviously, I'm not saying you should do that. But personally, I have, by the way. If I'm going to lift my skirt up, I've taken out loans to put into crypto. Fame, never heard that story. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, really nice. I would talk ages about battles, but maybe next time. Yeah, it's cool. The should consider teaching history, Mr. Kid. No, that is not my bag. I know the markets better than I know history. I know rough rule of thumb. Rough. I mean, like the Battle of Alicia. I know rough, stuff. I can't tell it properly. That's where YouTube comes in. So, yeah. Cool. Well, I've now got a 2:00 trading pub to do for my traders, so I need to get some breakfast beforehand. I'm going to love you and leave you. The next live session. I'm just going to look at my other screen here because I'm not doing these every day anymore. I'm falling behind on work. I will be doing it on. Let's call it Thursday. Yeah, here we go. We'll do a live session on Thursday, folks. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. It'll be a Q&A at least, but yeah, I'll do a live session on Thursday. Thursday, 12:00, same place, YouTube Live and Facebook Live on my Facebook profile. So yeah, I think what we'll try and do is do them every Monday, every Thursday for a while. Then eventually these live sessions will be just for my whappers. Because I want to go into more in-depth business stuff with my whappers at some point. So yeah, we'll do probably for the next month or two, every Monday and Thursday. We'll see how it goes, and then it will just be a pure WAP thing. Yeah, Linda G said, "Thanks, Simon. Enjoyed the story. Like Fame's comment about going when things are bad. Something to think about for sure. Yeah, like if you've got nothing to lose, go hard. Sometimes maybe." But when you do have lots to lose, then obviously your risk analysis is going to be different. I guess most people that end in some sort of difficult financial situation, they've probably got a house, mortgage and rent obviously to pay. They've got kids to look after, school fees maybe. And so it's a lot like when you have that on the line, you can't take so much ballsy risks. So, yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, there's lots of different ways I can put my screen here. Didn't know that. So yeah, I'll see you on Thursday. Don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure it'll be fun. And have a great day, folks. Bye. Right, how do I end this? Stop screen share.